This is something I find rather amusing, and it happens quite often in the comments section of my videos. Foreign guys who are self-proclaimed experts on dating Filipinas, but oddly enough, when you chat with them, you find out that they've never even been to the Philippines, and all the stories that they relay are passed on to them from other people. In this video, I'll show you an example of this very thing. But what happens here is not isolated, and it's a big part of the problem why Filipinas overall get a very unfair rap. Guys spreading stories and giving opinions like it's fact is very unfair, to say the least, and it only adds to stereotyping that I commonly see not just on YouTube or social media, but in society generally. I'm not really sure if it's all an attempt for these guys to feel relevant or like they know something at all. Or perhaps they may even have a miserable life and don't like to see anyone else who may be happy when dating a Filipina. Who really knows what motivates them to spread unfactual nonsense? Now, one must know that I'm all for people sharing their own experiences, as we all have different ones. And granted, not all will be absolutely bliss, much like most relationships worldwide. But I do draw the line when guys make such statements that they have no real knowledge about, especially when they try and make it sound like what they're saying is fact. In this case I'm about to share with you, you'll see his first comment was like stating a true fact. But strangely enough, after my short reply, this guy spilled all the beans on really how little he knew and plainly admitted that he'd never even been to the Philippines or dated a Filipina. Many guys who make these sorts of statements will never admit that they've been to the Philippines, or what they know is just from a few stories that they've heard. So at least I give this guy a bit of credit here for telling the truth in the end. Or maybe he was just a troll who was out to have a laugh, which is possible by the look of his comment, where he seems to be laughing all the way through it. So let me show you this particular comment that I'm referring to. It was on a video I did a little while ago called "The Most Common Secrets a Filipina May Hide from You," which I'll post a link in the description for those that haven't seen it yet. Okay, so here we are, guys, on that particular video I was talking about, "The Most Common Secrets a Filipina May Hide from You." To date, it's had a bit over 7,000 views with 243 thumbs up and 6 thumbs down, which obviously one of those was from this fellow I'm about to introduce you to here. And if we scroll down the page into the comments, right at the very bottom, we'll find this comment that I refer to by Christian Clark. Now, I'm sure Christian's really probably a fairly decent guy, or perhaps he is a troll, as I say, I don't know. But you'll get an idea for yourself from this particular comment. Now, when Christian first put his comment in, it was, "Yep, the family is number one, the family is her, and the family is one. Totally different than American families. It's all about the family." So what he's trying to infer there, from the way I read it at least, is that the Filipina will always put you behind her family no matter what. I've then just turned around and made a simple comment back to him saying, "You make it sound like it's a competition, Christian. She can love both her family and her husband without giving way to one or the other." And then I said, "That's my experience at least." So then Christian has come back and said, "Ha ha ha." So it's rather funny, apparently. "It seems like a competition. Sometimes it all depends on the lady and her family." So I'm thinking to myself, well, this guy must know a little bit about things. He's, obviously got some sort of experience. He goes on to say, "I've been around Filipino Americans since high school. It seems like the family of Filipino American lady is totally more strict. It seems like the family of Filipino American lady is totally more strict than from the family of Philippine provinces families." Now, I'm starting to think, by the way he's wording it here, maybe this is just a little kid having a bit of fun. Just the way he's saying it. Then he goes on to say, that's my experience. So obviously having a shot at me from calling what my experience is, who obviously has been to the Philippines on numerous occasions and also has been married to a Filipina for 7 years and spoken to many hundreds, probably thousands of people over the time on my YouTube channel about dating and being in relationships with Filipinas, learning about the Philippines, the culture, and all else that goes along with it. Now, Christian then goes on to say that some families are super cool and some families are totally strict. Well, I think that goes to say in any country there, Christian, but anyway, fair enough. Most of my experiences is that family first and then church second, and then the outsider guy, he says. So, well, we know that Filipinos are very close to their families. That's true. And we also know that they're very religious on the whole. It's estimated that 80% of Filipinos are religious in some form. But again, he has a little laugh about that. So, and where's he getting this information from? Well, he obviously has looked at a lot of YouTube videos and maybe even my ones, I don't know, but where I do talk about how close the families are in the Philippines and also around religion and church, and it's very important to them. So from that, he concludes that that's their most important things in life, and an outsider guy is just an afterthought, so to speak. And he says, from my experience, which is what? Watching videos, never dating a Filipina, probably never even spoke to a Filipina who lives in the Philippines. Then Christian goes on to say, Filipino families and Mexican families are alike, similar but different. Well, yeah, okay, that may be true. They might be similar. Having Spanish heritage on both sides there, very possible. The Latin type of thing, okay. I mean, Iligan City and Cebu and Angeles City has their own culture and their own special holidays and their personal style. Well, yes, I'm sure you found out much information around that via YouTube, which is good to see that you are watching and you are paying attention and learning a little bit of stuff. And this is the kicker to it all, guys. This is the real kicker. He says, that's my experience, but I've never been to the Philippines, actually. Ha, ha, ha. So it's like he's, taking the piss out of us a little bit, isn't it, really? But I know a lot of people from the Philippines with ministry work and help with the poor. Well, we can all see on YouTube these sorts of stories with lots of people in the ministry and non-government organisations who do some great work in the Philippines, but I highly doubt he actually knows that many who live in his country or his neighbourhood that's gone over there to do all this work. So again, all he's relaying is what he sees on various YouTube channels, which is all good and well. But my point is, if you go back to his original comment, don't try and make it sound like that you know for fact, with vast experience in the Philippines and with Filipinas, that what you're saying is 100% accurate, because it's just your opinion, Christian. And there are too many guys on there like this that make those initial statements and they never get challenged or questioned on it. And so everybody that reads these comments is thinking, oh yeah, this guy must know what he's talking about. And as such, the Filipinos get a bad rap and the stereotyping goes on and gets amplified and people believe it more and more and more. So a guy like Christian, even though it looks like he probably is a troll or a young kid thinking he's having a bit of fun. And you know what? Guys like that annoy me for a reason, and that's because this channel that I have here is where I want to create a community for like-minded people. And as such, most of these guys with these sorts of comments, I just delete them and ban them, because that's not the sort of person I'm trying to attract to this channel. I'm not now interested in growing the channel very quickly. I'm interested in getting people who are all like-minded around relationships with Filipina together so that we can learn from each other without having negative comments or trolls or just people possibly like Christian who thinks it's all just a bit of a joke. And the thing is, I get comments like this just about every day. So it's not that I don't expect it as a YouTube creator who puts videos out there. Yes, that's fine. I'm going to get that. But it doesn't mean that those comments will be approved. And often I just delete them. But in this case, I thought this wasn't a super harsh one. but it was rather amusing to me, and it highlights exactly what I'm talking about, how many of these types of comments make other people believe that this is true what he's saying, when in fact this guy and many guys like him have no real credibility at all to say such things. They're really only repeating hearsay. So guys, just take a mental note that what you may read from so-called self-proclaimed experts on the Philippines and Filipinas isn't always how it looks. A lot of these guys really don't have a clue. So guys, if you're looking for more information around dating a Filipina, then be sure to check out the card on screen now. And if you're also looking for your Filipina soulmate, but not really sure where to start, then check out my affiliate link in the pinned comment and description to the Philippines' #1 dating site, where it's free to join and create an account. And be very sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.